What if the season you are entering right now is not ordinary, but sacred? If this video found you, it may not be a coincidence. Many people who are considered chosen ones eventually reach a point in their life where everything begins to shift in subtle but undeniable ways. At first, the changes may seem small. Your thoughts begin to evolve. Your priorities start to feel different. Conversations that once excited you may now feel empty or meaningless. Slowly, almost quietly, the world around you begins to rearrange itself. You may notice that certain people start leaving your life. Some relationships fade naturally, while others end in ways that feel confusing or even painful. At the same time, new opportunities begin appearing in unexpected ways. Doors you never considered start to open. Encounters with strangers suddenly feel significant. Situations that once seemed impossible begin to move in your favor. When these changes happen all at once, it can feel disorienting. You might wonder why everything in your life seems to be shifting at the same time. But for many people who walk the path of a chosen one, this moment is not random. It marks the beginning of something deeper and more meaningful. This moment is often called a sacred season. A sacred season is a period in life when the universe begins aligning events, people, and opportunities for your next chapter. It is a time when growth accelerates and hidden paths begin to reveal themselves. What once felt uncertain starts to gain clarity. What once felt impossible begins to look achievable. However, sacred seasons rarely arrive without preparation. In fact, for most chosen ones, this powerful phase usually comes after a long period of confusion, struggle, or isolation. You may have spent years feeling misunderstood, as if you never quite fit into the world around you. You may have experienced setbacks that forced you to question your direction, your purpose, or even your own identity. Those difficult moments were not accidents. Every challenge you faced was shaping your perspective and strengthening your inner awareness. While others were moving through life on familiar paths, you were learning lessons that required deeper reflection. You were developing resilience. You were learning to trust your intuition. And most importantly, you were preparing for the moment when everything would begin to change. For many chosen ones, this preparation period can feel incredibly lonely. There may have been times when you felt like you were walking a path that no one else could understand. You may have wondered why your life seemed more difficult than those around you. But often, the greatest transformations are preceded by the greatest tests. Now something different is happening. You may feel a new kind of energy building inside you. Your awareness is expanding. Your instincts feel stronger. Situations that once confused you now make more sense. You are starting to see patterns that were invisible before. It is as if a veil is slowly being lifted from your eyes. This is the beginning of alignment. When a sacred season begins, life starts moving in ways that can feel almost mysterious. Certain obstacles disappear. Unexpected support appears. Opportunities begin to form where nothing existed before. It may feel like the universe is quietly guiding you towards something greater. But understanding this moment is important. Without awareness, many people mistake the beginning of their sacred season for chaos or instability. They resist the changes instead of recognizing the transformation taking place. That is why this conversation matters. In this video, we will explore why you may be entering your sacred season and the signs that your life is about to change in powerful ways. Understanding these signs can help you move forward with confidence instead of confusion and with clarity instead of fear. And before we begin, if this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need this message, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And now, let's dive in. For many chosen ones, life has never followed an easy or predictable path. While others seem to move through life with stability and clarity, your journey may have felt very different. There may have been moments when doors closed without explanation. Opportunities slipped away even when you gave your best effort. People misunderstood your intentions, questioned your choices, or simply failed to see the deeper qualities within you. You may have experienced rejection in places where you expected acceptance. Relationships may have ended in ways that left you searching for answers. At times, It might have felt like you were constantly being pushed away from environments that everyone else seemed comfortable in. The more you tried to fit into certain spaces, the more it felt like something inside you resisted belonging there. These experiences can be deeply confusing, especially when they repeat over many years. You might begin to ask yourself difficult questions. Why does my path feel harder than others? Why do I keep losing people or opportunities that seemed important? Why do I often feel like I am walking through life alone? For many chosen ones, these questions are not signs of failure. They are signs of transformation in progress. What often looks like rejection from the outside is actually redirection. Situations that appear to be setbacks are frequently guiding forces, pushing you away from environments that were never aligned with your deeper purpose. In the moment, it may feel painful or unfair, but over time, a pattern begins to emerge. The things that once seemed like losses begin to reveal themselves as protection. Difficult seasons are rarely meaningless. In fact, they often serve as a form of preparation.
Think about the moments in your life when you were forced to face challenges alone. Those situations may have strengthened parts of you that comfort never could. When life becomes difficult, a person is pushed to develop resilience. You learn how to stand back up after being knocked down. You learn how to continue moving forward, even when you are uncertain about the outcome. Over time, these experiences begin to shape your inner world. Your awareness deepens. Your ability to observe situations from different perspectives becomes stronger. You start to notice patterns in people's behavior, in opportunities, and even in the timing of certain events. This kind of awareness is not something that develops easily in comfortable environments. When everything in life is predictable, people rarely feel the need to question deeper meanings or hidden connections. But when someone repeatedly faces unexpected obstacles, they begin to look beneath the surface of things. This is where intuition begins to grow. For many chosen ones, intuition becomes one of their strongest internal guides. After experiencing enough unpredictable situations, you start learning how to read subtle signals from the world around you. You become more aware of energy in conversations. You can sense when someone's intentions are genuine and when they are not. You begin recognizing when a situation is leading toward growth or toward another unnecessary struggle. These abilities are rarely taught through formal education. They are developed through lived experience. While others were moving comfortably through familiar routines, you were being trained through life's challenges. Every obstacle forced you to adapt. Every disappointment pushed you to reevaluate your direction. Every period of isolation gave you time to reflect on your identity and what truly matters to you. At times, this training may have felt overwhelming. You may have wished for an easier path. You may have looked at others and wondered why life seemed smoother for them.
It is natural to compare your journey with those around you, especially when their progress appears effortless. However, different paths often lead to different outcomes. People who experience constant comfort rarely develop the depth of perspective that comes from navigating uncertainty. They may move forward quickly, but their growth often remains limited to what is familiar. Chosen ones, on the other hand, are frequently guided through situations that force them to expand their understanding of life itself. This process can take years. During those years, it may feel like nothing is working in your favor. Plans fall apart, relationships change. The direction of your life seems to shift without warning. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. Each experience is quietly shaping your character and strengthening your internal foundation. Imagine trying to build a strong structure without first preparing the ground beneath it. If the foundation is weak, the structure will eventually collapse under pressure. But when the foundation is carefully built and reinforced, it can support something much greater. Difficult seasons are often the process of building that foundation. They teach patience when immediate results are not available. They teach emotional strength when circumstances feel overwhelming. They teach independence when support from others becomes unreliable. Most importantly, they teach self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools a person can possess. When you understand your strengths, your fears, your patterns, and your motivations, you gain a level of clarity
that many people spend their entire lives searching for. Chosen ones often develop this clarity through the very struggles they once wished to escape. At some point, something begins to shift. You start noticing that the challenges you once faced no longer affect you in the same way. Situations that previously caused confusion now appear much clearer. You respond differently to stress. You trust your instincts more. Instead of reacting emotionally to every obstacle, you begin observing the larger picture. This change is a sign that the preparation phase is reaching completion. When a person has developed enough resilience, awareness, and inner stability, life begins to open new pathways. Opportunities that were once hidden start appearing. Connections that align with your direction begin to form. Situations that once seemed blocked suddenly begin moving forward. This transition marks the beginning of a sacred season. Sacred seasons often arrive after hardship, because hardship is what prepares a person to handle the opportunities that follow. Without the lessons learned during difficult times, many people would not be ready to recognize or sustain the transformations that come with a new chapter. Imagine receiving a powerful opportunity before developing the discipline to manage it. Imagine gaining influence before learning how to handle responsibility. Imagine achieving success without understanding how to navigate pressure. Without preparation, these moments could easily become overwhelming. But when someone has spent years developing resilience through challenges, they approach new opportunities with a different mindset. They appreciate what they receive because they understand what it took to reach that moment. They remain grounded because they remember the difficulties that shaped their perspective. In many ways, the hardships were never meant to destroy you. They were shaping you. Every rejection taught you to rely less on external approval. Every misunderstanding strengthened your ability to stay true to yourself. Every period of loneliness gave you the chance to understand who you are without the noise of outside influence. These experiences created a deeper level of independence within you, and that independence becomes essential when your sacred season begins. Because when your life starts changing in powerful ways, you will need the strength to navigate those changes without losing your sense of direction. Many people chase transformation without realizing that transformation requires preparation. They want the rewards without understanding the process that makes those rewards sustainable. Chosen ones are different. They are often guided through a long period of preparation before their lives begin to align with greater opportunities. The path may feel slow, it may feel unfair, but every stage serves a purpose. This is why sacred seasons often arrive after hardship. The struggles were not meant to break you. They were meant to shape you into someone capable of recognizing and stepping into the next phase of your life. And when that moment finally arrives, you will realize that every challenge you faced was quietly preparing you for what is coming next. When a sacred season begins, the transformation rarely arrives in a loud or dramatic way. Instead, it often starts quietly, through subtle changes that gradually reshape the way you see your life and the world around you. At first, these changes may feel confusing. You might sense that something is shifting internally, even though nothing on the surface appears drastically different. Over time, however, the signs become clearer. One of the first signals that you may be entering your sacred season is the feeling that you are slowly outgrowing environments and relationships that once felt normal. Places that once felt comfortable may begin to feel restrictive. Conversations that once felt engaging may now seem repetitive or shallow. You may find yourself sitting in familiar settings and realizing that something inside you has changed. This shift is not about judging others or believing that you are better than anyone else. It is about alignment. As people grow internally, their values, interests, and emotional awareness often change as well. When this happens, the environments that once matched their earlier version no longer reflect who they are becoming. You may begin noticing that certain interactions drain your energy rather than inspire you. Topics that once captured your attention may no longer hold the same importance. Social spaces that once felt exciting may now feel overwhelming or unnecessary. These realizations can be uncomfortable because they challenge the sense of familiarity that many people rely on. At times, you might question whether something is wrong with you. You may wonder why your interests are changing, while others around you seem content with the same routines and perspectives. But in many cases, this feeling is not a sign of disconnection from life. Instead, it is a sign that your awareness is expanding. Growth often requires separation from patterns that once defined your identity. As this process continues, you may also notice that some relationships naturally begin to fade. This does not always happen through conflict or dramatic endings. Sometimes the distance appears gradually. Communication becomes less frequent. Shared interests begin to disappear. Both people move forward in different directions without fully understanding why. While these changes can feel painful, they are often necessary for personal evolution. When someone enters a sacred season, their internal compass begins guiding them toward environments and relationships that support their next stage of growth. In order for those new connections to form, space must first be created. Another powerful sign that you are entering your sacred season is the presence of a strong inner pull towards something greater. This feeling can be difficult to explain, especially in the early stages. It may appear as a quiet sense that your life is meant for something more meaningful than your current circumstances. You might find yourself thinking about your purpose more frequently. Questions that once seemed distant suddenly feel urgent. You may begin wondering what direction truly aligns with who you are. Even if you cannot fully describe the destination, you can feel that something important is calling you forward. This inner pull is not always comfortable. It can create tension between the life you currently live and the life you feel drawn toward. On one side, there is familiarity and security. On the other side, there is uncertainty and possibility. Many people ignore this feeling because stepping into the unknown can feel intimidating. But those who are entering a sacred season often find that the inner pull becomes impossible to ignore. The more they try to return to their previous routines, the stronger the feeling becomes that something new is waiting for them. This is often the beginning of transformation. As your awareness continues to expand, you may also start noticing unusual patterns in the timing of events around you. Situations that once seemed random begin to feel interconnected. Opportunities appear at moments when you were beginning to lose hope. Conversations with strangers suddenly lead to insights that change the direction of your thinking. These moments are sometimes described as synchronicities. Synchronicities are experiences where events seem to align in meaningful ways that cannot easily be explained by coincidence alone. You may think about a specific idea and shortly afterward encounter information related to it. You may feel drawn to explore a new interest and unexpectedly meet someone who introduces you to opportunities connected to that interest. While skeptics often view these events as simple coincidence, many people who are entering a sacred season recognize them as signals of alignment. When a person's internal awareness begins shifting, their external environment often begins reflecting that shift. New paths start opening where there once seemed to be none. For example, you may discover opportunities that previously escaped your attention. You might encounter resources, people, or experiences that support the direction you have been quietly considering. Situations that once felt blocked suddenly begin moving forward in unexpected ways. These moments can feel surprising, but they often appear after long periods of preparation. When someone has spent years developing resilience, awareness, and clarity, they become more capable of recognizing the opportunities that were always present but previously invisible. However, one of the most important signs of entering a sacred season is the strengthening of your intuition. Intuition is often misunderstood as something mystical or irrational. In reality, intuition is a refined form of awareness. It is the ability to process subtle information from your environment and your internal experience, allowing you to recognize patterns and make decisions that align with your deeper understanding. As people grow through challenging experiences, their intuition tends to become stronger. They learn how to listen to the quiet signals inside themselves, rather than relying entirely on external validation. You may begin noticing that your instincts about people and situations become more accurate. When something feels wrong, you trust that feeling instead of dismissing it. When something feels aligned, you feel more confident moving in that direction, even if others do not fully understand your decision. This shift from external noise to internal guidance is a significant milestone in personal development. For many chosen ones, This transition marks the moment when they stop living according to expectations imposed by others and begin following the direction that feels authentic to their own journey. External voices may still exist. Friends, family members, and society may continue offering advice or opinions about what you should do. But during a sacred season, those external voices gradually lose their influence over your decisions. Instead, your inner voice becomes clearer. You begin recognizing the difference between fear and intuition. Fear often speaks loudly and urgently, warning you about every possible risk. Intuition, on the other hand, speaks quietly but consistently. It does not demand attention. It simply presents a calm sense of direction. Learning to trust that inner voice requires practice and patience. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to rely on something that cannot always be logically explained. But over time, as your experiences confirm the accuracy of your instincts, your confidence in your intuition grows stronger. This growing trust allows you to navigate life with greater clarity. You begin making decisions based not only on logic, but also on alignment. Instead of chasing opportunities that look impressive on the surface, you choose paths that resonate with your deeper values. Instead of staying in situations that drain your energy, you move toward environments that support your growth. This shift changes the way you interact with the world. Life begins to feel less like a constant struggle for control and more like a process of alignment. You start recognizing that certain events are guiding you rather than blocking you. Even challenges begin to carry a different meaning because you understand that growth often appears through unexpected experiences. When all these signs begin appearing together, the message becomes clearer. Outgrowing old environments, feeling drawn towards something greater, experiencing unexpected opportunities and synchronicities, developing stronger intuition, and learning to trust your inner guidance. These changes rarely happen by accident. They often indicate that your life is moving into a new alignment. A chapter that once defined your identity is gradually closing, and the new phase is beginning to unfold. This phase is what many people describe as a sacred season. It is the moment when preparation begins transforming into opportunity, and when awareness begins guiding you toward the path that has been waiting for you all along. Entering a sacred season does not mean everything will suddenly become easy. In fact, transformation rarely arrives in the form of comfort. More often, it arrives as change. And change, even when it leads to growth, can feel unsettling at first. When a sacred season begins, life may start moving in unfamiliar directions. Certain things that once felt stable begin shifting. Opportunities may appear that require courage. Decisions that once seemed simple now demand deeper reflection. This is why navigating a sacred season requires both awareness and intentional action. The first step in moving through this period is learning to trust the process that is unfolding in your life. Trusting the process does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending that uncertainty does not exist. Instead, it means understanding that growth often follows patterns that are not immediately visible. When someone begins entering a new phase of alignment, the old structures that once supported their life may start dissolving. For example, a job that once felt secure may suddenly feel limiting. A social circle that once provided comfort may begin to feel disconnected from who you are becoming. Even personal habits and routines may start changing as your priorities evolve. These transitions can create moments of doubt. You may wonder whether you are making the right choices or whether you are losing something important. But often, what is happening is not loss, it is adjustment. Life is reorganizing itself to match the person you are becoming. Growth rarely happens in comfortable ways. When people remain in environments that never challenge them, they rarely discover their full potential. Comfort can create stability, but it can also create stagnation. Sacred seasons often disrupt that stagnation by introducing experiences that require new levels of awareness and courage. At times, this process may require letting go of things that once felt familiar or safe. Letting go can be one of the most difficult aspects of personal transformation because familiarity provides a sense of identity. People often define themselves by their roles, their relationships, and the routines that structure their daily lives. When those structures begin to change, it can feel like losing a part of yourself. But in reality, letting go often creates space for something that reflects your deeper purpose.
Think of it as clearing a path. If your life remained completely filled with old commitments, outdated expectations, and environments that no longer aligned with your growth, there would be little room for new opportunities to enter. Sacred seasons create that room by gradually guiding you away from what no longer fits. Trusting the process means accepting that these changes are not random disruptions. They are adjustments designed to move your life closer to alignment. Another important part of navigating your sacred season is protecting your energy. As your awareness expands, you may begin noticing that certain environments or interactions affect you more strongly than before. Conversations that revolve around negativity, constant criticism, or unnecessary conflict may start feeling exhausting. This heightened sensitivity is not weakness, it is awareness. When people become more conscious of their internal state, they naturally become more selective about where they invest their time and attention. Energy is one of the most valuable resources a person possesses. Where you direct your energy determines the direction of your growth. During a sacred season, protecting your energy becomes essential because transformation requires focus. If your attention is constantly pulled toward distractions, drama, or environments that drain your motivation, it becomes difficult to maintain clarity about your direction. Protecting your energy does not mean isolating yourself from the world or rejecting everyone around you. Instead, it means becoming intentional about the influences that shape your mindset. You may begin spending more time in environments that encourage reflection and creativity. You may choose conversations that inspire growth rather than reinforce negativity. You may develop new habits that strengthen your mental and emotional clarity. These changes may appear subtle, but they have powerful effects over time. When your energy is focused on growth, learning, and purposeful action, your ability to recognize meaningful opportunities increases. You begin noticing possibilities that previously went unnoticed because your attention was scattered. Another aspect of protecting your energy involves setting boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood as acts of rejection or selfishness. In reality, boundaries are expressions of self-respect. They communicate to others how you expect to be treated and what kind of interactions you are willing to engage in. During a sacred season, boundaries become especially important because your time and focus become more valuable. You may no longer feel comfortable participating in situations that compromise your well-being or distract you from your direction. Learning to establish these boundaries requires confidence and clarity. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to say no to certain requests or to distance yourself from environments that once felt familiar. But over time, you will realize that boundaries do not create separation for the sake of isolation. They create protection for the sake of growth. While trust and energy protection are essential parts of navigating your sacred season, transformation ultimately requires action. Sacred seasons are not only about spiritual awareness or internal reflection, they are also about movement. When opportunities appear, it becomes important to respond to them with courage. Many people spend years preparing for change, but hesitate when the moment to act finally arrives. Fear of failure, uncertainty about the outcome, or concern about the opinions of others can create hesitation. However, sacred seasons often present opportunities that require decisive steps forward. You may encounter a new idea that excites you, but also feels intimidating. You may meet someone who introduces you to a path you had never considered before. You may feel inspired to pursue a project, a skill, or a direction that aligns with your deeper sense of purpose. These moments are invitations. They are signals that the preparation you experienced in earlier seasons is beginning to connect with real-world possibilities. But invitations only lead to transformation when they are accepted. Taking action does not require perfection, it requires willingness. You do not need to have every detail figured out before moving forward. In fact, many meaningful journeys begin with uncertainty. The important step is responding to the opportunity instead of ignoring it out of fear. When you take action during a sacred season, you activate the alignment that has been forming beneath the surface of your life. The experiences that once felt like preparation begin connecting with the opportunities now appearing before you. This is the moment when preparation meets opportunity. Preparation is everything you learned during the difficult seasons of your life. It includes the resilience you developed during challenges,
the awareness you gained through reflection, and the intuition you strengthened through experience. Opportunity is the moment when life presents a path that allows those qualities to be expressed in meaningful ways. When these two forces meet, transformation begins. The life you once imagined as distant or impossible begins to take shape through real actions and decisions. You begin recognizing that the struggles of your past were not random obstacles, but essential parts of your preparation. Navigating a sacred season is therefore not about waiting passively for life to change. It is about participating consciously in the transformation that is already unfolding. Trust the process that brought you here. Protect the energy that fuels your growth. And when the moment arrives, step forward with the courage to act. Because when preparation meets opportunity, transformation is no longer just a possibility. It becomes the reality of the life you are stepping into. If you have been feeling different lately, if you sense that something within you is changing and that the direction of your life is slowly beginning to shift, you may truly be entering your sacred season. These moments do not always arrive with dramatic announcements or obvious signs. More often, they begin quietly, through subtle changes in your thoughts, your awareness, and the way you see the world around you. Perhaps you have noticed that your priorities are no longer the same as they once were. Things that used to feel important may now seem less meaningful. Certain environments may no longer feel aligned with the person you are becoming. Even the way you respond to challenges may feel different, as if you are beginning to see life from a wider and more thoughtful perspective. These shifts are not signs that something is wrong with you. In many cases, they are signs that something important is unfolding. A sacred season is not simply a period of external success or sudden opportunity. It is a deeper moment of alignment. It is the stage of life where your experiences, your awareness, and your direction begin to move together with greater clarity. The confusion that once surrounded your path starts to fade, and a new sense of purpose begins to emerge. For many chosen ones, this stage comes after years of questioning, searching, and overcoming challenges that others may not fully understand. There may have been times when you felt isolated in your journey, as if the path you were walking was invisible to those around you. You may have wondered why life seemed to test you in ways that felt relentless or unfair. But when you look back, you may begin to see those experiences differently. Every challenge carried a lesson. Every difficult season forced you to develop qualities that could not have been built in comfort alone. Resilience, awareness, patience, and intuition often grow strongest in moments when life demands that we confront uncertainty. Those experiences were not meaningless interruptions in your story, they were preparation. The struggles you faced were shaping the person you needed to become. They strengthened your ability to stand independently when circumstances felt unstable. They deepened your understanding of people, of life, and of yourself. They sharpened the inner voice that now guides your decisions. And now, as your sacred season begins to unfold, those lessons start revealing their purpose. The doors that once seemed closed may begin opening in unexpected ways. The clarity you once searched for may begin appearing through experiences that guide you forward. The path that once looked uncertain may slowly become more visible as you continue moving ahead. This season is not about becoming someone entirely new. It is about stepping fully into the person you were always meant to be. The growth you have experienced, the awareness you have developed, and the resilience you have built are all part of the identity that is now emerging. Your sacred season is the moment when those qualities begin working together to guide you toward a life that reflects your deeper purpose. It may not always be easy, transformation rarely is, but what makes this season meaningful is that you are no longer moving blindly. You are moving with awareness, you are moving with experience, and you are moving with the understanding that every step of your journey has contributed to the person you are today. As you continue forward, remember that alignment often requires patience. Some opportunities will appear quickly, while others will unfold gradually over time. What matters most is your willingness to remain open to the direction your life is guiding you toward. Trust the growth that has taken place within you. Trust the instincts that have become stronger through your experiences. And trust that the path ahead is unfolding exactly as it needs to. Your challenges were not accidents. They were preparation for the path that is now opening before you. And if this message resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more messages created for the chosen ones.